So it looks like Auntie Nina has finally taken the gloves off, much to the dismay of Elizabeth Warren. Let's talk about it. So as most of you all probably know by now, Bernie Sanders had his rally in Queens, which was called the Bernie's Back Rally, where AOC endorsed him. Now, as always, the fire breather, Nina Turner, also known as Nina Turnup, also known as Auntie Nina. Y'all can't call her Auntie Nina, only I can call her Auntie Nina, so I just want to go ahead and clarify that. But she delivered one of her passionate speeches as usual, except for she decided it was time to draw some necessary contrast between Bernie Sanders as a front runner and one of the other front runners, quote unquote. And that front runner, well, you listen to the video, I think Nina makes it pretty clear what she's talking about.
And when I say, Queens, that there's nobody quite like Senator Bernard Sanders, I mean that. We got some folks in mainstream and the neoliberal side who really can't understand the difference. But I'm going to break this down for you. There are many copies. There are people who didn't have the same guts and the same courage as Senator Bernie Sanders to run in 2016. There are some people who sat on the sideline when it was hard. There was only one person who stood up to the establishment, and his name is Bernard Sanders.
So, I mean, she ain't lying. She is not lying, ladies and gentlemen. And let me just say really quick, Nina, you better hit that R&B walk. See, I don't know. That's the Temptations when you hit that. And girl, you walk away from the mic real quick. You know I only want you. And you gotta walk away from it again. And yeah. See, that's when you about to drop some fire, you gotta walk away from the mic. And Nina Turnup just drop some fire. And I think that everybody needs to listen to what the hell she got to say, because a lot of people over here equivocating between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Oh, well, Bernie's my number one, Elizabeth Warren's my number two. I don't think you heard her correctly if that's what you believe. She said courage. Had the courage to run in 2016. And what she means by that is Bernie Sanders actually went up to Elizabeth Warren and asked her, begged her to run. Like, please, yo, homie, can you do this? Can you run? Give us a shot here. She wouldn't run. That is why Bernie Sanders decided to throw his hat into the ring. My assumption is, of course, that he didn't want to, or he didn't want Hillary Clinton to win, like if we're being real. Now, when obviously a lot of us were expecting Elizabeth Warren to endorse Bernie Sanders, they're friends, Bernie reminds us pretty often. According to Elizabeth Warren, she supports everything that he supports, supposedly. We know that's not true. If we look at the voting record alone, that's pretty evidential. I can't understand how a woman who has made her campaign about quote unquote being a fighter, like, I don't understand how that's your campaign slogan, and yet in 2016 you couldn't fight. That was just 3 years ago. You developed a backbone in 3 years. Ooh, that's a hell of an embryonic stage you got there. You done developed a whole backbone in the late 60s. That's what you're supposed to develop in your damn mama's stomach, or at least over the course of a lifetime. Politically, developing a backbone in 3 years is extremely unlikely, especially when you're continuing to take corporate money. Speaking of taking corporate money, of course, Elizabeth Warren does take a lot of that, and she plans on taking more in the general election. I would love to see more Nina Turner in Bernie Sanders' campaign. What I mean by that is, I see too many people in his campaign praising Elizabeth Warren, celebrating Elizabeth Warren, Why? Especially considering you don't show any love to any other candidate, and so it looks selective. It looks as if you were trying to push this idea of Elizabeth Warren being the vice president. And I'm letting you know, and I'm pretty sure Nina Turner feels the same way. You bring on Elizabeth Warren as a vice president, you are playing with fire. We cannot allow 2 or 3 states to be the judge of how popular a particular candidate is in a given state and their viability as far as helping the Democrats win in 2020. See, because she might have a lot of support in like Massachusetts. She might have a lot of support in California. She might have a lot of support in New York. Okay, that's pretty much where it stops. Her support is iffy everywhere else, and amongst so what? 40% of the country is independent. I think it's like 46% is independent. That fluctuates from time to time. Probably even more than that when we really stop to think about it, because there are people who are registered in either of the parties who consider themselves independent minded. And I would say about 50-50. You got 50 left leaning, 50% right wing leaning. Almost everybody on the right side is not voting for Elizabeth Warren. So you lost about 20%, 23% of the independent vote right there. And I would say a good half of the independent left wants nothing to do with Elizabeth Warren because she's more of the same. Elizabeth Warren will not get a lot of the black vote. Hopefully, Bernie can make up for that. But once again, that's why I say Bernie's playing with fire if you think about bringing in Elizabeth Warren as your vice president. Because if you decide to serve 4 years and get out, if she has to take over for whatever reason, you're looking at a hard reset of everything you fought for. Elizabeth Warren will be your legacy. And I'm in the camp of people who will not be voting for the Democrats if Elizabeth Warren's the vice president or president. Because I know what that looks like. I lived through the Obama years. I know exactly what that looks like. I think of it like this. If Elizabeth Warren is going to be picked as a VP, it's because it's a capitulation to the establishment, which means I can get a pretty damn good guess of what the rest of your administration is going to look like. It means the establishment will have a say in just about every single aspect of your administration, which cannot be to the benefit of the people. It's to the benefit of the establishment. It's antithetical. So, shout out to Nina Turner, keeping it real once again. Love it. Like I said, need more Nina on the Bernie Sanders campaign right now. Standing by Tulsi Gabbard, as she always does, calling out Elizabeth Warren, not pretending as if she is even close to Bernie Sanders as far as their ideology and the policies they want to see passed. And more importantly, going out there and representing the progressive movement in just the best way you can. And it doesn't matter what endeavor she is part of, whether it be Our Revolution, Bernie Sanders campaign. She campaigned, I don't know if you all know that she campaigned with Tulsi in the midterms while they were doing some climate change stuff. And she actually went to Hawaii to campaign with Tulsi. So whatever she does it with extreme class. And I mean, you can't get any better than Nina. So shout out to Auntie Nina. Nina Turn Up for y'all. If y'all want to call her something dumb, you can't call her Auntie. And for everybody else, always remember more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.
Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.